Everyone's favorite waitress, Alyssa Mercante, made a post on Bluesky the other day talking about how she has big plans for 2026. And I found this very curious because of the particular wording that she used in her Bluesky tweet. She said, all that being said, this is a follow up for all these posts about, activism and how everyone sucks and, journalists don't get enough credit or whatever. All that being said, as of next year, I will no longer be a freelance video game journalist. I've secured a full-time reporting role elsewhere. That is the operative word in the sentence right there. And I am so excited for my new chapter. I told you 2026 was going to be my year. And of course, it's her pounding what looks to be a Guinness, because of course. So my first thought when I saw this was, people shared this with me. My first thought when this was shared with me was, interesting. So if we are to take her at her word, this is very carefully worded to explain that she's leaving the game industry without outright just saying, I'm leaving the game industry. Very, very curious verbiage that we see here. So I took to ChatGPT and I said, does this tweet from Alyssa Mercante sound like she's leaving games journalism or staying in it and moving to another outlet? And I posted it. Short answer, she's not leaving journalism. She's signaling a move from freelance games writing to a full-time reporting job, very likely outside traditional video game journalism. And it breaks down piece by piece of what she says. I've secured a full-time reporting role elsewhere. Reporting role strongly implies she's still a journalist, just not freelancing and not primarily covering games. If she were leaving journalism entirely, she would almost certainly say so. Elsewhere, that wording suggests a different beat or outlet, possibly politics, culture, tech, or mainstream news. Could you imagine if she got hired at like CNN or something? Oh, God. Rather than another game site like Kotaku or IGN. Tone and framing. This excitement and new chapter language reads like a career upgrade to a salaried position, not an exit or burnout post. Bottom line, Alyssa is saying she's done freelancing in games, not that she's done with journalism. This looks like a pivot to a full-time reporting job outside of games media, not a departure from the profession of journalism. If you want, we can help you break down, interpret it publicly. I said, sure, additional insight, welcome, but keep it brief. Here's a practical read on how this will land. Public perception. Many will read this as she's leaving games journalism, especially people already critical of the space. The phrasing invites that misunderstanding. Industry reality. This is almost certainly a freelance to salaried pivot, not an exit. Full-time reporting roles are harder to land than games freelancing, so this is a stability move. Why the wording matters. Saying no longer a freelance game journalist lets her distance herself from games discourse without admitting burnout, backlash, or loss of relevance. Interesting. What to watch? If the new outlet is politics, labor, or culture reporting, expect her to still comment on games on social media, just without the byline responsibility. TLDR, it's a rebrand and risk reduction, not a walkaway. I said, but in your opinion, she is leaving the video game space. Yes, in my opinion, she is effectively leaving the video game journalism space. Not journalism as a whole, but games as her profession beat. Saying no longer freelance game journalist is a deliberate identity break. If she was staying in games full-time, she would simply say she landed a staff role in games. Full-time reporting role elsewhere almost certainly means a different beat. Politics, labor, culture, or general news are the usual landing spots. Freelance games writing is often a stopgap. Moving salaried almost always means exiting the game's ecosystem, not doubling down on it. She will likely still talk about games online, but without professional obligation or accountability tied to games coverage. I have a feeling, by the way, maybe she will, if she does leave gaming, journalism, or whatever she does right now, if she goes to a different specific like political landscape in reporting. I don't want to call it journalism, but whatever the hell she does with her activism, she will, I guarantee you, she will try to signal, hey, I'm still loving games. I'm still playing this game, guys. Deep down, based off of how she's handled all the situations leading up to this point, I've never taken her for a gamer. I don't feel like she cares about games. Like many of these other people, like Rebecca Valentine comes to mind as well for IGN. They just fell into it based off of a friend that connected them to the industry. And they're like, sure, I'll write for this. I like writing and I can pick up a controller and figure this out. That's what these people do, in my humble opinion. So I think she will feel a lot more fulfilled in her life if she does leave gaming. And I've said that from day one with all this. I feel like that she is not in a natural fit for her. And it's a very uncomfortable spot. That's probably why she clashes so much with so many people. I feel like if she goes into the political realm, it might make a lot more sense, like a Taylor Lorenz style coverage, if you will. So yes, Alyssa Mercante is leaving the video game space professionally, even if she remains vocal about it socially. That distinction matters, and she worded it carefully. Found that very curious, especially if you pair it with what she did when the Game Awards were happening. She said, hi, I'm flying to LA bright and early tomorrow for the Game Awards shenanigans, which was, again, very specifically worded in a particular way to make it imply that she's doing one thing, but not actually doing the thing that she says. So this implies that she's going to attend the Game Awards. At least that's how I read it. But it doesn't say that. It says she's going to LA for Game Awards shenanigans, which means she didn't go to the Game Awards. In fact, she posted on social media how she went to a Game Awards party and hung out with people in gaming and stuff like that, and then left LA early because she wasn't feeling good. And there are ways people could look at that like, well, that's really odd in the context of why would you fly from New York to LA for the Game Awards during the Game Awards and not attend the Game Awards? That makes no sense at all. Unless there's another reason why you'd fly out to LA, say for an interview or to meet people at a bigger company in person that you might be, I don't know, rubbing shoulders with to connect with and use it as an opportunity. Again, speculation, 100% speculation, but it would make more sense to me that that's why she would make that trip as opposed to just doing it out of the, hey, I want to go to a party and not actually attend the Game Awards. And I found this curious as well because this just got posted very recently, just as of recording this a few hours ago, on Kotaku from Alyssa Mercante. And her latest article, with all the context I just gave you, the people yearn for gay hockey romance as heated rivalry ties top-rated episode of all time. Huh? Breakout hit TV series Heated Rivalry is pulling in stellar ratings and endless thirst. So when I look at this article, this is a clear signal that she is letting the world know that she is exiting gaming. This is basically, to me at least, the way I read this is my signal to the world that I am stepping away from gaming. And I'm going to talk about literally whatever I want because who cares? I may not be doing bylines for Kotaku next year. That's just a few days away at this point. So why not just do a send-off saying, hey, let's whet people's appetite with what they can expect from me in the future and my outlet that I end up at. Again, all speculation on my end, based off of one tweet from her, but I think it's pretty clear that she's trying to tell people that she is leaving gaming. And again, I am happy for her, genuinely happy for her. I hope she finds her path in this life to find true happiness, because the road that she's been on has been anything but that. She's ended up in situations where she's announced publicly she's been depressed, she's been frustrated, she's been stressed. She feels like the world is just, it's too much to bear sometimes. She has to private her account. She feels like all this pressure from everyone, the harassment or negativity or whatever the hell she says. At the end of the day, I firmly believe it is coming from internally, from her to everybody else. And she has no idea how to express that. And it ends up just being a very conflicted confusion, and ends up, I don't know, attempting to sue multiple parties, because she did threaten to sue Kiwi Farms initially, and they laughed her out of the room. And then she threatened to sue me, and I laughed her out of the room. And then she followed through actually suing me, which I found curious. It's almost like she was throwing darts to see what made the most sense back then. But again, these are things that have literally nothing to do with what she's doing. It's something that I find as a cry for help, a cry for attention. Please care about me. Please pay attention to me. And gamers don't give a shit about that kind of stuff. We always, forever, have always been. I don't know if I need to remind people about Frosk. Remember that whole situation? I saw this Sweet Baby Inc. detection said, never forget who started it all. Frosk was one of the 4 horsemen started pushing gaming into woke train wreck. And this was alongside many other people in the games industry, the other 3. In this case, I give you War, Death, and Famine. Anita Sarkeesian, Zoe Quinn, and who is this one? Imagine the smell of that room, by the way. So Frosk joining them as the 4 horsemen of wokeness in gaming. Oh, Brianna Wu. That's Brianna Wu. That's a dude. I guess it makes sense. Holy shit. Brianna Wu threatened to sue me earlier this year, by the way. I laughed that off, of course. But I get a lot of people that threaten to sue me all the time. David Jaffe, creator of God of War, just did that the other day to me. John Della Rose did it at one point as well. Man, people love to threaten to sue me all the time. And I'm just like, bro, I know it sounds great to threaten to sue people, but it costs a lot of money. It takes a lot of time. And mean words on the internet are not a reason to sue someone. Like, sorry, that has never gone anywhere, ever. And we're finding out in real time right now. It's just an exercise in futility right now. It's very frustrating to me that it's already gotten to this point, but it is what it is at this point. But yes, a lawsuit is so exhausting. And I found it curious because as of right now, on Alyssa Mercante's LinkedIn, she has not updated anything. Her experience currently is self-employed freelance writer. Currently, she has not shown where she's going to be ending up yet. But again, I don't know what she's waiting for. If she announces that she's going somewhere, I'm very curious to see where it is she ends up. And even though she's suing me and she has been an awful banshee of a horrific person to not just me, but my entire family, I still do wish her well. I hope she's able to find herself, and I hope she's able to find happiness in life. But as I always say, get the fuck out of gaming. You are not wanted here. You have forever not been wanted here. And you can sue people all you want for saying that, but I'm allowed to say that. So fuck you. I really don't care. I'll leave that there.